Hi everyone, I hope you're all okay. So I am so excited to film this video today because, as you can probably tell from the title, you may be able to tell by what's sitting next to me, we are talking about books because this summer I have fallen back in love with reading. I haven't read properly since I think 2020. I've probably read a book a year since Penelope was born. But yeah, this summer, I don't know what happened, but I have just fallen back in love with reading and I'm obsessed. So I want to start making some regular book videos. I used to make book/Kindle videos back in the day and I want to bring them back because I'm obsessed. I just want to talk about books all day long. So we're going to start some maybe monthly book videos. Let me know if that sounds good. So let's begin. Let's begin at the beginning and let's talk about the books that got me into reading. So you can probably tell, but these bad boys here, the ACOTAR books, you've probably heard of them. I feel like they are everywhere. They're all over social media and I'd seen everyone talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is the first book from the series. And it was the day before my birthday, the 25th of June, where Penelope was at nursery. It was really gorgeous weather outside. And I was like, do you know what? This is my birthday week. I am going to treat myself, because I never do this, to a couple of hours in the garden with a book, with an iced coffee, and I'm going to sit on the sun lounger and do nothing but read, because I never do this. I never allow myself to have time off. Like, I just don't. So I was like, it's your birthday, you can justify it. So I sat down and I started this book. And at first I was like, what is going on? Like, this feels like Beauty and the Beast. Like, I haven't read a fantasy book for like many years. I was like, what is happening? But by the end of that afternoon, I was hooked. I was like, I need to know what happens next. And then before I know it, a week later, I'd finished this and we moved on to the next one. And this book here, the second book of the series, A Court of Mist and Fury, this is my new all-time favourite book. There is magic. I'm convinced that there is magic within the pages of this book because it is just so special and beautiful. And yeah, I've always struggled to know what my all-time favourite book is. Like, I've always kind of thought, is it a Jacqueline Wilson book? Is it the Hunger Games? Is it the Twilight books? No, it's this book right here. It's, like I said, it's magical and it's so special. And I cannot wait to reread this. I'm giving myself a little bit of time, but this is very special. So then, yeah, I read this. I think I read this within I did 10 days, tried to read this as slowly as I could. Then we went on to the next one, a week, 2 days, and then I made myself savour the last one, 10 days. So I think all in all, it took me just under 6 weeks to read the whole collection. And oh my God, let me tell you, the chokehold that this ACOTAR series have on me, like, I'm obsessed. I finished this series about 3 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago. I'm still thinking about these books every single day. I'm still picking them up and reading some of my favourite chapters. Let me just tell you, I'm obsessed. You're probably thinking, okay, you love them, you're obsessed. What is so good about them? And it's like, I feel like I can't even really describe them because whenever people ask me what they're about, I'm a bit like, but I'm going to try my best to describe them. So it's basically about, we have two lands, a human land and a non-human land called Bromfield, which is ruled, there's 7 courts, each of them are ruled by a High Lord, and they are called fairies. So these are like magical beings. There's also lots of magical creatures within these lands, and the humans and the fairies do not have a very good history. There is a wall between them, and the humans are basically just terrified of what is over that wall. And there's lots of rumours about what happens, and yeah, lots and lots of like fear mongering. So it focuses on Feyre, who I think is 19, 20. She lives with her dad and her two older sisters, and they are very, very poor. So every single day she goes out hunting, very Katniss Everdeen vibes. She goes out hunting to go and get them food so that they can eat. And one day when she's out hunting, she kills what she believes is a wolf. But shock horror, it's not a wolf. It turns out to be a fairy, and because she has killed this fairy as part of like an old treaty rule, she has to go and live out the rest of her days in Bromfield in the Spring Court with the High Lord. And that is where the story then leads. It's us following Feyre into this new world. Now, not only is she trying to adapt to this new world where she's a human and she's at risk and she's absolutely terrified because she's away from her family and she's living with all these scary creatures, but these Bromfield, like the Seven Courts, there is a war going on amongst all of this as well. So there's so much going on, and she's just trying to work out like basically what the hell is going on and work out her new life, and it is following her on that journey. And I feel like I'm not doing it justice because there's so many twists and turns and just so much happens within these books, but give them a go. That's all I'm going to say, is give them a go. The first one, especially if you're not used to reading fantasy, it is a bit like, what is going on? Push through it. Like, trust me, just push through it. The last 60-70% of the book is like, oh my God, there's so much going on. You cannot put the book down. Just, yeah, push through it. Get through this first book. Just, yeah. And then you'll be rewarded with the second book, which is where the magic. This is where the magic happens. And then once you're a few chapters into this, you're hooked. That's it. Hook, line and sinker. Your life will never be the same again. So these books are 100% my adult Twilight books. Like, I was obsessed with the Twilight books when I was growing up. I finished them and I reread them all straight away. I was obsessed with the films. These are my adult Twilight books. What's really special is that, I know this sounded really sad, so they not only have made me fall back in love with reading, like I forgot how much I enjoyed reading and how much joy it brings me and how much it helps like my mental health, but they've also, like, I don't know, I feel like they've just switched something on in my brain. Like, for the past 3.5 years since becoming a mum, I've genuinely felt like I just have no personality. Like, I feel like I've forgotten what I enjoy in life. Like, I'll say to my friends, I feel like I've got no personality. I don't know what my hobbies are. I just don't really know who I am anymore. And I felt like that, you know, for so long. And it's really silly, but these books have kind of ignited something. Like, I feel like they've made me feel again. I'm like, okay, I'm not dead inside. And yeah, I've kind of just fallen back in love with reading. I've fallen in love with this new genre of reading. I love these books. I love the characters. And yeah, I'm just now so excited for this journey of just reading more books. And yeah, so they have ignited something in me, and I'm very grateful for that. I feel like since I've been reading that my anxiety has become better because I'm not spending so much time like on my phone, and I am getting like escapism. Like, that is what I love about this romance fantasy genre, is that it's pure escapism. And I think when you're a mum, you need that at the end of the day. Like, you need to escape to another world to just let your brain go, ah. So I moved on to something else. Like, I'm going to reread the ACOTAR books at some point, but I want to give myself a little time because I don't want it to become like boring or anything. So I've moved on to these. So next we have got Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Is that her name? Yarros? Oh, I forgot to say, Court of Thorns and Roses, Sarah J. Maas. So we've got Fourth Wing and we've got Iron Flame, which is the sequel. So these are very different to ACOTAR, but they're in the same kind of romantasy genre. This is, however, following I think she again is 20-year-old called Violet, and she has just been enrolled into a military college to become a dragon rider. So we have dragons in these books, which at first I was a bit like, I don't know how I feel, but it was great. I loved it. So yeah, so this is all about a school where dragon riders go to train. And let me just tell you that this school, well, this college is wild. Like, from pretty much the second to third chapter in, they're killing these students off. And you're like, Jesus Christ, like, what is going on? This is wild. But these were really easy to get into. So although there was quite a lot to take in with like the characters and the regions of where we were, they were very easy to just hop straight on into. And within a couple of chapters, you've got action and drama. And I was like, I'm hooked. I love them. They filled the void that ACOTAR left behind. And they kind of had everything in them that I love, or I'm discovering that I love about books. So we've got the fantasy, we've got the action and the drama, but we've got the romance. I need a bit of romance. So we've got the romance, we have the enemies to lovers, which is my favorite trope, and we've got that delicious slow burn. So the main character, like the main guy character in these books, he's very much like Reese from the ACOTAR books. So if you have read ACOTAR and you're like, what do I read next? Recommend these, because yeah, they are very different to ACOTAR. Like, you can't really compare them, but there are some similarities that make you feel a little bit more like at home. So they're good to read for sure after. But I also think these are good to read if you are new to the romantasy genre as well, because they're super easy to get into. There's only 2 at the moment. There's a third one coming out in January. There's going to be 5 books in total. So it doesn't seem as daunting. But that being said, the ending of these books, like this author, Rebecca, she chooses violence when it comes to the last 100 pages. Like, both of the endings of these books, there is so much drama, there is so much going on. I could not put the books down. And they end on pretty big, like, dramatic moments. So yeah, that being said, there is only 2 books, but now it's like, okay, we've got to wait till January to read the next one and see what happens next. I've got all these theories going around in my head. But yeah, these were also brilliant. So that is all the books that I've read so far. Let's talk about what I'm reading currently. So I finished Fourth Wing, and I've gone straight into another Sarah J Maas series, and we've gone on to Crescent City. So there are 3 books in this series. I didn't want to do too much Googling, so I don't want to spoil anything. I don't know if this is the series wrapped up or if there's more to come. But yeah, so there's 3 books in this series, and I am on book 1. I'm just over halfway through. I think a lot of people recommend to read Throne of Glass, which is her other series, but it consists of 8 books first. But I was like, the 8 books just seems really daunting. So I wanted to do Crescent City because there is a crossover in book 3, which I won't say if you don't know because I don't want to spoil anything. But there is a crossover with another book series. So I really wanted to see how that pans out. You can probably guess, but yeah. Anyways, so I'm over halfway through, and this has been, I'm not gonna lie, I found this quite hard to get into. Maybe it's because I adored Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So I'm coming, I think when you finish a book that you loved, getting into a new book is always quite difficult. So I was like, there's a lot of like world building. This is definitely quite heavy on the fantasy, even though it's set in modern day times, which is quite like strange as well. But yeah, so there's a lot of world building, and there's a lot of characters, and there's a lot going on. In the first 150 pages, I felt like I was just trudging through mud, trying to pick up all these tidbits of information, and I was a bit like, I have no idea what's going on. I have no idea who that person is or that person is. But I feel like I'm getting there. We're starting to get the story and the romance, that slow burn is starting to heat up. So it's like, okay, we're getting to the good part now. Thank you, Sarah. So I've heard a lot of good things about these books. A lot of people said that these are amazing. I really love following Sophia Tuxford. She does a lot of book videos on TikTok, and she'd recently posted this is one of the best books she's ever read. So I was like, okay, we're going to read it because Sophia liked it. So so I'm excited to see where this goes. So I will report back once I finish these, maybe in next month's book video. So let me know, what are you reading at the moment? Have you read any of these books? Are you going to read them? I think next, I've got literally the biggest list. I'll include a screenshot of my to be read list. So I go for Powerless, I've heard a lot of good things about those books. They don't seem to be too daunting. I think there's 3 books and they don't seem overly massive. I've downloaded the first one. So I've downloaded Powerless by Lauren Roberts onto my Kindle already. So do I go for Powerless? Or I've heard a lot of good things about Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I think that's only 1 book. And I think it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm thinking about signing up for a 30-day trial. Or do I just finally jump into it? I don't know why I'm putting it off. Do I go into Throne of Glass? 8 books, but everyone says that it is the best series ever and it's even better than ACOTAR. So I don't know. Let me know. Where do I go from here? I mean, I've got those 3. I mean, these are pretty big books. Like, look at the size of them. So I've got these 3 chunky books to get through. But I like having a plan of action of what's next. Like, I'm just excited because it feels like I have a hobby again and it has something that's just me. Like, this isn't me being a mum. This is just me, you know, Corrie. And yeah, that feels really, really good. So I am absolutely loving reading. I'm really excited to be making more video content. I've created a book TikTok account. It's called Books in My 30s. I'll link it down below. So come over and follow me where I'll be making lots of videos, like little videos all the time about books and stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to do more book videos on here. So yeah, I'm really excited. Let me know what you are reading at the moment. If you've read any good books over the summer, I would love to know. Let's add them to the list. And I will see you this time next month for my next book video. Thank you for watching.